So, welcome to a Games I'm Playing episode, and it would seem that everything that is old is new again, once again. And I'll ask you guys before I begin, what are some games that you're playing, some brand new games, some old games, catching up on some backlog? Let me know down below.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Now, I really wanted to come in and make this episode because both the games I'm going to talk about today, I have a big history with. Not a little history, a massive history, and I'm going to show all that. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to show some video of me from 2004. Unfortunately, from playing some of these games back then.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
So I'm just going to get into it. They've remade some of my favorite games of all time. And we'll start off with the first one. I'm going to get to Metal Gear, but we'll start off with Gears of War Reloaded. I just picked this up on the PS5. I've been giving it a go. I've been going down memory lane and remembering how much Gears of War meant to me.
Lock and load. Oh yeah.
Now I remember in 2006, I picked up the original Gears of War. Here's my copy right here. And I brought it home. I put it into my Xbox 360. And I played it, and it's funny, people say that, this and that about gaming nowadays, but I gotta say, this game was like unbelievable. This was gaming. This was gaming where you put a game in and it shocked you. The graphics were unbelievable. The gameplay was all brand new. You could play online. This had everything I could ever want. I just want to talk about this. I'm going to show all the new gameplay I've been capturing lately, but I want to talk about the original Gears for just a minute and my personal history with it. So the job I was working at the time, we all bought this game in 2006, and I think it was the November. We all picked it up, and we would go to work for the day because we all worked like the afternoon shift. We'd get home, and there was a lot of us. There was like over 10 of us, and we would play online every night. And I just want to say, I would always get destroyed, but I was always still trying. Some of my coworkers were so good at playing this game online. They were amazing, but it was so much fun, and I've never really had a chance to talk about it on the show, where I remember so many nights laughing with my friends, outrageous things happening, other strange people joining into our online games, mass hysteria, and what a memory. What a memory. I even remember arguing with a guy at work. He was very headstrong with video games. And I picked it up, and he's like, yeah, the graphics are nothing special, blah, 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 blah. And I said, show me any game that looks like this. And that was at that time, right? That's like 2006. And he's like, he went silent because he kind of knew. He's like, And then he picked it up the next day, and he joined us, and he loved it. And we all got along, and we would talk Gears of War at work for at least, I think, 6 months to a year. We were playing this game. And it's so iconic.
Lock and load.
They brought out a legendary weapon right here, the Lancer. I was happy to buy this at an auction many, many years ago here in Vancouver. I got it for a steal. I got it for like $100. And listen to this. It still works. The batteries are still in there. It still works.
Welcome to Delta Squad.
I had the opportunity to interview Rod Ferguson, who worked on Gears of War, and so he signed my Lancer here. So I was really happy to get that. In fact, I got him to sign my original Gears of War right here. But this weapon is iconic. It's as iconic as the Master Sword, And this weapon, when I saw this in the game for the first time, with a chainsaw on the front, I mean, we couldn't believe it. So you could just shoot your opponents, and then you go up and chainsaw them in the face, and you're like, I can't believe this. It's amazing. And one more weird bit of information from my past is when me and Kim got married, I got married, wearing a traditional kilt from Scotland because I'm Scottish, and everybody kept asking me, what are you wearing under your kilt? There's one of those jokes, right? Because some Scotsmen, when they get married, they don't wear anything under their kilt. I would not be that uncivilized of a man. I wore Gears of War boxer shorts underneath my kilt. It was a really funny thing, actually. And so that's a little bit of history. That's how much Gears of War has meant to me. So in playing the new version, and I just want to say, I think there was an Ultimate version released in 2015. That was kind of like a remake. I didn't play that version of it, but I decided to jump in here, and boy, the nostalgia of just running around, getting behind objects, you know, for cover, going out, shooting your opponents, going against the locusts, the giant explosions, the over-the-top characters. Every character had so many muscles. It was like, it's over the top and so stereotypical, and it was awesome. It was awesome. It was blood and guts. It was over the top. Great action. I love shooting down the laser satellite to destroy the locusts as well. What an iconic game, and I just want to say, they've knocked it out of the park here. I'm playing on the PS5 Pro, and I'm like, the frame rate, everything is stupendous. And I'm remembering a game from back in 2006, right? That's a long time ago now. But I think it really holds up well. It's not a completely full price game. I am gonna say something wild. If you've never played Gears of War, you should jump in and try this game out. It's a great introduction, obviously being the first game, but having the remake treatment here, it's amazing. It's so funny. Little did I know all those years ago that I'd be playing a remake in 2025 and 2006 and kind of reliving those kind of memories. And, you know, playing with some of my friends online has been a blast, even with this version, with the kind of the couch co-op, which you would do, where now you can play online. Great stuff. You could do it then as well. I love this game, and I love how iconic it is, and it still stands up to this day. Okay, now we have to go back in time to the PS2 in 2004. A very big game was getting released. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Yes, this game. Now, I gotta say, I loved the first game, so iconic. And then I played the second game, and the switch to Raiden was a little bit of a bait and switch, and a lot of us were very upset about that, but I loved number 2. It was a great game. And then they announced Snake Eater. And I just gotta show something here that's wild, is that I used to go over to my friend Gary's place all the time. He had a big screen TV, and I would go over there, and we'd play a lot of video games together. I could smoke in his basement. I know, it's so terrible. That was the time period in 2004 for me, unfortunately. But I remember going over, and we filmed it. And I found this video, which is so wild, from 2004, of me going over to his place and playing the demo for Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. And you can kind of tell they were a little excited.
The game we've all been waiting for. Snake!
Yeah, it's a pretty big moment. We finally get to see it. If it's any good or if it's bad or what, we get to see.
Yeah, we were a little over the top, you know, back then, for sure. But this was an iconic game. But we didn't really know that at the time. But I'm telling you something really weird. I can even tell that nowadays. When I played the demo, I was like, this is something special. This is something special. And just running around the tree environment, blending in, the quick-time combat, everything was working for me. And especially, you can't state it enough, these graphics at that time were unbelievable. Obviously, I'm showing the brand new remake right now, but it was an amazing time, and I'm so glad that I got to have that cigarette in Gary's basement and play the demo and capture it. I can't believe I still have that video 21 years later.
Gotta crank the sound. Oops.
Yeah, it's too bad it's not progressive scan.
And I gotta say, there's been many versions over the years. There was the high definition collection when they brought them all back again. There's been Snake Eater on the 3DS in 3D. I've gotten all of the versions because I'm gonna say something totally wild. Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 3, is in my top 10 games of all time, and it's never budged. It's never budged. And that leads us into this right here, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater Delta.
Snake Eater.
Okay, I heard that they were remaking this game, and I gotta say, I was really excited. I was like, yes, I'm really into this. I can't wait to play this game. And I just want to say some things of why this game is such a great game. First of all, it was by Hideo Kojima at his height, I swear at his height, and it was just the Cold War setting with Russia that was so amazing. And there's just an atmosphere in this game that I'm actually getting shivers talking about it right now, because this game is not just a game to me, it's a surreal experience, a journey that you go on almost into a fictitious past with your main character. And I don't want to ruin too many things talking about the story too much, but it's also going up against some of the bosses. This game has some of the greatest bosses of all time in a video game to me personally, that have such personality and really stood out from all the rest. I mean, I love all the other Metal Gear games, but this game has something so unique to it.
Ah, what a joyful scene.
Colonel Vogan.
Welcome to my country. And to my unit.
I remember, I'm still getting shivers from it. I still remember playing Snake Eater for the first time and hearing that song, the Snake Eater song. And I went through so many emotions listening to that song.
In my time, there'll be no one else.
There's a bit of me that recoiled from it, and then there's a bit of me that went straight into it. A bit of me that appreciated so much that it had such a James Bond-like opening, but yet it was almost comical. You know, some of the lyrics.
Someday you go through the rain, and someday you'll feed on a tree frog.
It was over the top. It was too much. And I loved every second of it. And what a great way to set up that game and set up the atmosphere. And there's some moments in this game that if you've never played it, I don't want to ruin it for you. Yes, it is a game from 21 years ago, and they've given it a great facelift. But it's a lot of the same mechanics from that game. And even back then, some of those mechanics felt dated. I was always saying, like, Hideo Kojima, come on, like, you know, it was always strange when you had to like lay flat on the ground and then kind of press a button to stand up. It was really wild back then. But I gave him a pass. I majorly forgave him because the gameplay was so incredible. Sneaking around in the forest, sneaking around on troopers and just grabbing them, taking them down and hiding them. It was amazing. It was amazing. I love the blending in. And the whole concept of it worked for me. And the game is a 10 out of 10 game for me. It really is.
Who's that?
Come in, HQ. Patrol here. Enemy sighted. Commencing attack.
The one thing I do want to say, and you know me, I never bitch and complain about companies too much. But I just really want to say something here. I never go out of my way to say anything like this, but I will say it. The PR department at Konami is terrible. It's terrible, and I never go into rants like this. I have written to them so many times. I wrote to them for Suikoden 1 and 2, the remake, the remaster. I wrote to them and said, listen, that's a beloved game of mine. I would just love to talk about the game early. I'd like to review the game. Nothing. And by the way, I have the right emails. And I just get stonewalled. And I'm like, okay. And the same thing came to Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. They just stonewalled me. They didn't, do you know I would have appreciated? Just an email back saying, hey, sorry, you know, we're seating it a certain way. Sorry you're not part of that. That's great, but just the insult, especially when I wrote them a really long, heartfelt message about how much Metal Gear Solid 3 has meant to me in my life and how much I love the game. And I really bought every version of it, and I really want to spread the love for free. I don't want anything. I just wanted to talk about their game, and they just terrible PR. I just want to say, if anybody from Konami is watching this, you've got to change what you're doing behind the scenes. Because this is what I want because I love the game. It's my selfishness. I want the game to do well. I want the game to do well. Because I want people to experience what I experience. That's the only thing I want. You know, that's the only thing I want. And I just don't understand why they don't want to promote their own game. Could you imagine you write a book and it says a book about gardening and somebody writes to you and says, oh my gosh, I have a YouTube show and I love gardening and I love your book and I'd love to talk about your book on my show. And they're like, I just sort of like, no, I'm not writing back to them. Who would ever do that? It's crazy. And this one stings because I want to say that everybody writes me back if they can, send review codes if they can't, anything like that. Everybody else gets back to me. Everybody else is like decent in that regard. But I just find them kind of gross that they couldn't even write me back. And I've written to them multiple times and I have the right email. I know that for a fact because friends of mine have gotten that. Maybe they just don't like me because yes, I did talk some smack about Konami and the way they handled the Kojima situation in the past. But that was a real situation that happened and it wasn't handled the best. I was just talking about what happened. And I still think it's really terrible what happened. And I think, Metal Gear will always be affected by that. Of course it will be. But I think they did a great job going in there. Yes, I've seen some reports that the graphics are not, not as well as they should be, and there might be some patches. So I'm not saying this is the definitive version. I'm not Digital Foundry, but I can say this much from what I played. I was really impressed. I thought it was great. I'm playing on a PS5 Pro, and I thought it was fine. But then again, I'm old school. I'm a guy that used to play on a black and white TV with my Sega Genesis. Okay, and think it was amazing back then. So I may not be the guy to talk to about if the graphic fidelity is living up to 2025. But I'll ask you guys though, what do you think of Metal Gear Solid 3? I know I have some friends of mine lately that have told me that they just absolutely hated the game when it came out. It just repulsed them. They didn't like the graphical style of it. They thought it was a big departure from the first game, and I was like, that's everything, those are all the reasons why I liked it. And I guess it could be a bit off-putting for people, but this game then, and this game now, 21 years later, notwithstanding Gary's smoky basement from back then, really lived up to the hype. And I remember one last story, and I don't have any footage of the boss battle or anything like this, but I remember racing home on the highway from my job at the time to get home to do the final boss for Metal Gear Solid 3. And I was like, I can't wait to get home. And I remember driving extra fast. I should have really been taking it easy, but I'm like, I gotta get home. I gotta do this. I gotta finish this game. I gotta see where it goes.
It's time we go to the depths of hell itself.
Anyways, guys, I think I've gone on for quite a long time here talking about some old games that I played. I'm going to pick up the old games here because let's get nostalgia. Some old games from back in like 2006 and 2004. Some games that really held my imagination and honestly shaped my gaming journey. These games shaped my gaming journey and held me fast into becoming, and staying a video gamer. Like, these games were just showing me of what the gaming format could do. Gears of War pushed action games in a whole different way for me. And Metal Gear Solid 3 showed me that you could have a kind of action stealth game with a lot of heart and a lot of soul. And it's almost ethereal in some of the places that it takes you to. I'm telling you, if you play the game, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But what do you guys think of these games? And what do you guys think of the brand new versions of them? Gears of War Reloaded and Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. What do you guys think of these games? Let me know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.